Trump, the former president, said is the most embarrassing moment in the history of the U.S. military, and maybe for the U.S. government. Kamala Harris was asked about what her decision-making power was within the administration. This is what she said.
Afghanistan.
Yes.
Were you the last person in the room?
Yes.
And you feel comfortable?
I do. This is a president who has an extraordinary amount of courage.
How will she explain her role on this?
Well, she said she was the last one in the room talking to President Biden. That meant she had the last say in what was happening. You'd agree or disagree with it going forward. When we were handling the Afghanistan, President Trump picked up the phone and called Mullah Berardi, who was the chief of the Taliban at the time. And I was in the Oval Office at the time when he did it. And it had to be translated. And I remember listening to this going, how is this being translated? Because he was basically telling him what he was going to do if he violated. Right. After that call, not a single American was killed in Afghanistan for the entire year. And we set up a conditions-based agreement. In fact, President Trump got Berardi out of a Pakistani jail. What you saw happen in Afghanistan was never going to happen on our watch, because we set the conditions basically, until you have this joint agreement, we're not going to withdraw our troops. We're not going to leave Bagram Air Base. And Trump was very, very clear with this. She would have gone, what they did is they just walked away from the deal. They walked away from Afghanistan. And because of that, 13 great Americans lost their lives in Abbey Gate.
Around the world, across the nation, across the state. And I say that because this one comes from Germany, live, and it is, who's with us? Rodney. I want to make sure that we got the chain of command here. Rodney Hall, representative from District 20. Good morning, Rodney. How are you, sir?
I'm well, Paul. How are you? It's good to see you again.
I'm doing fine. Thank you for checking in. You are in Germany on assignment?
That's correct. Yep. As soon as we got out, I got picked up for a military mission. So I have a short stint here, but am on my way back to the great state of Mississippi here soon.
I just wonder, what is your task? What's the mission that you have to complete there?
Well, now, Paul, if I told you that, I have to, not good. No. No, just doing a lot of the defense work that's happening over here in the European theater. So everything out here east that covers all the way from, of course, Germany all the way over to Poland, Ukraine, et cetera. So it's a wide berth of assignment and responsibility, but it's been good. It's good to get on the front lines. That's where you really get the information.
Listen, I do fully appreciate that you are in service and you're on duty, and there are things that you can't talk about. And but nobody's listening to this, but you and I, so we don't have a problem with that.
No, I don't believe that.
What's the buzz there with your comrades, with the people in town in Germany, and are they fully aware of what's going on in this country?
Oh, of course, always. America sets the standard. Everybody looks to the United States for leadership. And so, of course, our systems, our election is the top of everyone's mind. Now, I will tell you, Paul, and one thing that I have just been shocked about, it just really has blown my mind. I've had the opportunity to go around and talk with a lot of Europeans. And, a lot of Europeans want to come to America. They want to be American. And we have simple conversations. I talk about where I'm from and why I love Mississippi so much, and ask them if they want to visit. And they say, no, I want to live there permanently. So it just goes to show that American exceptionalism is a real thing. It is cherished and is viewed with great and held in high regards all across the world, even despite the liberals trying to tear that down.
Rodney, I'll tell you, and we've said this for a long, long time, we have been the butt of a lot of jokes, and I always say we're going to be the one gets the last laugh in. It seems to me that that's kind of materializing a little bit. When you start thinking about we are holding on, not that we haven't lost a lot, but it seems like we're one of those states that have held on to the three things of family, flag, and faith. And in the end, when it is going or gone, people are going to realize that's a lot better than mountains, a lot better than valleys, a lot better than crystal clear oceans, and people are want that more than ever now.
You're spot on. One thing that I've come to see And I really do encourage people to try and travel some to get a different flavor of what's going on in the world. But, a lot of the policies that the Democratic Party is pushing is stuff that is implemented over in Europe. So when you look at free healthcare, when you look at free education, when you look at all these welfare entitlements, they are good in some regards, but what do you give up? You give up a lot of freedom. The tax bracket over here is insane. I mean, there is a 20% tax on everything you buy, whether that's a toothbrush or a car. I drive a little 4-cylinder sedan, and I pay about $100 to fill up my gas tank. It's insane.
Yeah. One of the things in the prior administration, we talked about it a lot, saying you could see the differences now because the last successful administration was not 15 years ago. It was just the one prior to this one. And veterans were doing a lot better. Veterans were optimistic. There were some problems. They were being solved. And boy, it's just kind of like our gas prices. It's gone to pot. In it, we have. I want to share one with you here, just to give you an idea how bad things are.
The immigrant left a receipt in the store, and you know how I got the food stamp remaining balance at the bottom of the receipt, right? $13,500 with a $5,000 cash, Larry. Migrant, somebody that's not from this country. Now, you are a veteran. You've also served this country, correct?
Correct.
Tell these people, as a veteran that served this country, tell them how much food stamps you get in a month.
$23.
23. How much you getting in food stamps a month?
$23 a month.
And you fighting to get your 100% from the VA. He can't even get it. See if Kamala gonna fix that. He done fought for this country, and he get $23 worth of food stamps every month. And then they done found a receipt of an immigrant, a migrant, getting $13,000 a month. Is it not a slap in the face?
Slap in the face.
I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but if it is, that is a shame. That's a crying shame.
You hear stories like that, and that's not just one. It is all over the United States, and that should piss off Americans. You have folks that are really trying to bootstrap themselves, trying to achieve the American dream, and yet they see a guy that comes across the border and he's handed it. Yeah. It's given to him at the taxpayer's expense.
Rodney Hall is a new representative from Mississippi House District 20 up in DeSoto County area. And I do want to ask you this. When, as an African-American, and talking about breaking the glass ceiling, it's tremendously important. In some cases, in this particular case, we have a woman who calls herself a black, which is African-American, as we've always heard. Brown is not. And then she's trying to go back one way or the other. I don't care about any of that. All I care is about her experience and her policies. And her policies that she has shown, just trickling out of very, very little, like price controls, scare the bejeebers out of her. Where you have some economists out there saying that it's like putting a drunken banker or Bernie Madoff in let's not say your trust fund. For most of Americans, it's going to be their SNAP, or certainly Mississippians, their SNAP or their Social Security or any investments they have. Would you put someone who is basically illiterate in economics in charge of that? Because ultimately it does matter. If that check comes in the post office in your post office box and it bounces, what good is it to you?
Paul, you're absolutely right. Whether she's black, brown, black and brown, she could be both. That's fine. One thing that I do appreciate and love about our country, and specifically in the Republican Party, is that we don't look to color to elect our leaders. We look at their merit. We look at what they have achieved and what their convictions are, what their plan is. And that's everything that she lacks. You will see she has been, how long was she ducking interviews? For weeks.
I believe it's almost going on a month now. It'll be closing in on 29, 30 days that she's been ducking interviews. But, and we'll talk more about this when we come back on the other side, this is the same strategy they did with Joe Biden. Put him in the basement, give him a fireplace and a rocking chair, don't come out, and we'll take care of everything else at the polling places when the vote gets here. So it's a little scary that it's following the same template as the one in 2020. Back with more Rodney Hall when we return in just a moment. Let me get back. Rodney Hall, Mississippi House Representative, District 20. How long have you been over there, by the way, in Germany, sir? I'm not getting any volume.
We got a dead mic here. Hold on a second.
Well, let's see if we turn the mic on and try it again. This is Rodney Hall. He is.
Can you hear me now, Paul?
From Germany. Now I can hear you. Got it. How long you been?
Yeah, so just a few months. Yeah, just a few months is a short mission. As soon as we gabbled out, I caught a flight over here and got right to work for the United States.
Well, you said that you were asking, has she said anything of substance lately? And I was, during the break, I tried to find as much as I could, and I did find this.
There is this wonderful word that has a great meaning, and it's called hypothesis, which means that you have an idea, and then it is well accepted, it will be tested, and then you will learn whether it was correct or not, but there will be no pride associated with the hypothesis, because after all, it was a hypothesis. And then you will reconvene and then create a new hypothesis.
That's a special kind of stupid.
Yes, it is. Your analysis of that statement, sir.
Wow. The leader of the free world. Really? That's what we're doing. Paul, it really it should shock the conscience of every American that this is the person that the Democrats have selected, not elected, selected to be the leader of the free world.
Ronnie, I was going to ask you before the break there, as an African-American and a Republican, and we were talking about breaking the glass ceiling, et cetera, but your advice for Donald Trump, if there's any at all, to continue what seems to be a tremendous movement from the African-American community to say, look, enough of this on the other side. We have so many entrepreneurs, African-American entrepreneurs, sports figures, just mover shakers and playmakers who are tired of this thing from the Democrats. And I mentioned something a little bit earlier, too, and I think it plays into it. You go to the convention, and it looks like a cult circus of weirdos. And there are a lot of African-Americans who look around them and have been there in that party for 15, 20 years, and they feel uncomfortable. What is there anything else the president should be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the president and his team should tell the truth about Kamala Harris. The only thing that's going for her is that no one knows her. She hasn't accomplished anything. And because Joe Biden was just so terrible of a candidate, so terrible of a president, she's getting a little surge. But I think the American people are smarter than that. And as soon as they find out who she is and what she stands for, they won't have it.
But it is also kind of great, a lot of people, that she's where she is now. At first part, they want to shoo away any ideas of DEI. But in reality, how did she get here? I mean, nobody voted on her as far as in any precinct that I know of. The last time somebody had a chance to vote for her on a precinct, she failed. So she's been just put from one place to the other, and people look around and said, how the hell did you get here?
I mean, it's the old adage: if you don't stand for anything, you fall for everything. She's just the candidate version of that. She doesn't have really any principles or convictions. And so she is an easy plug and play for whatever you want to put in and wherever you need her to be. The problem is that doesn't work as the leader of the free world. And that is setting a dangerous precedence where parties elect their leaders instead of for the people.
I have one more cut as far as the military, since you are on assignment in speaking from Germany. Here goes.
The federal government spent over $66 billion on illegal immigrants in 2023.
Wow.
Does anyone here want to guess how much we've spent on homeless veterans in 23? $3 billion. 66 on illegals, $3 billion. On people who have laid down their lives for this country. Can anyone explain?
I don't think anybody can explain that, other than the chances are the veterans are not going to vote Democrat as much as the illegals will. And from what we see, they are registering them in just about every state they can. We had something this morning that's on our website. Illegals have cost the people of Mississippi over $100 million in a new study out. But this is not going to go away. And I think most people understand that if she's elected, it's probably going to worsen. Your final thoughts, sir?
Absolutely. I mean, they are already on record of wanting to cut the military. They obviously don't care about veterans, and they care more about winning seats and being elected, whether that is by cheating or subversion or any other way that they can. And so I only implore the American people, I implore Mississippians, find out who she is, find out what she stands for, and then ask yourself, is that what I believe in? I don't think it is.
Yeah. Look forward to getting, when you get back, lands stateside and before the next legislative session. When you happen to be in town, look forward to getting you in the studio, and let's talk about the 2025 session. Rodney Hall, Mississippi House District 20. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Coming from Germany.
Thank you, Paul.
Certainly.